All right. Thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to our discussion on unlocking the power of composable commerce technology for Black Friday and Cyber Monday success. A couple things before we get started. We will be recording this webinar and we'll be sharing it with you after the call. And if you have any questions during the discussion, please don't hesitate to throw them in the chat. We do have time allocated at the end for Q&A. And so, with that, who are we chatting with today? I'm so excited to be joined by Adil Yunus, VP of Engineering at Flaconi, which is Germany's largest digital beauty retailer. Also, our amazing partner, Logan Vidivalu from Google Cloud, and also Mike Eastman, our Senior Director of Solution Engineering at commercetools. And I'm Mary Rebecca Hericus, your moderator for today. So let's jump in. As you all know, Black Friday is one of the biggest shopping days of the year, and it contributes a significant amount of revenue to a retailer's success. To demonstrate just how significant it is, we have found in our research that 89% of organizations expect higher revenues compared to 2023. And it's not just essential for the right people to be in place, but also the right tech stack and preparations for Black Friday. And otherwise, downtime could really run the risk of wreaking havoc to success. And in fact, we found that 73% of retailers agree with this. Nobody wants downtime. And so, what is an important element of ensuring that success? It's a composable commerce solution. And in fact, 88% of businesses agree that composable commerce is very critical to adapting to shifting consumer demands. So for those unfamiliar with composable commerce, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek into what it is. This is a modular design approach that allows organizations to create tailored solutions by selecting and integrating the right components fit for their business needs. It's more flexible, agile, and a scalable solution for running commerce. And so, with that, I'm so excited to chat with our panelists today to get that deeper understanding of what makes Black Friday so successful for some retailers and what every retailer can do to ensure this year is also successful too. And so, with that, I'd love to bring our panelists on board here and we can get started. Alrighty, so thank you, Adil, Mike, and Logan. Great to see you all. And so first, we're going to kick this off with a discussion around some prior Black Friday woes. What were all the challenges and horrible things happening up until this point? And so, Adil, my first question is for you. For some organizations, Black Friday is an exciting event because teams know it's an amazing opportunity to generate revenue. But then for other organizations, it's really stressful. It's really anxious time. And so, can you share with us, give us some context around those Black Friday woes that Flaconi was experiencing prior to replatforming? What was going on with your legacy tech stack?
First of all, hello everyone, and thanks for having me. And I'm super excited to share the insights. And I agree, indeed, it is an exciting event and a huge opportunity to drive sales and engage with the customers. But before our replatforming, Black Friday for us, or preparation for the peak season for us, was a mix of excitement, pressure, and I would say a good dose of anxiety. We had to do a lot of prep in order to be prepared for the peak season. I think every company does it, like load test and put some measures in place, like code freeze and extra hypercare phase, where you have to double check or triple check things which are going live during the period. And reason being, just to set the context, just imagine our legacy platform was monolith architecture, with Magento being the base, which was heavily customized over the year. And it wasn't just any typical setup. We built so many custom solutions that we had effectively outgrown the system. A simple maintenance becomes significant task. Our team was constantly in the firefight mode. They were running on the high alert, all hands on deck, constantly monitoring the performance and system health. And we were investing more and more resources just to keep things up and running. Rather than pushing forward with the new ideas, our goal of innovation was becoming harder to reach, and we were left with very little time to innovate for innovation and creativity. This was quite stressful for the teams, not very exciting, as this pattern repeated itself for every peak season. not just Black Friday, but any peaks that we prepare for, whether it's Easter or any shopping season or anything. And that was driving the team mode and causing a lot of frustration. To wrap it up, I mean, and it wasn't that exciting as it should have been, but rather it was a struggle for survival for us.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I can see how that's really challenging, and no one wants to be in that firefighter mode as you shared. And so, Mike, I believe prior to joining Commerce Tools, you were in that firefighter mode at one point as well. You were on the front lines in other organizations to ensure that top-notch performance and reliability prior to Black Friday. And so, I'd love for you to tell us too about your experience. What were those nightmares you were wrestling with as well?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, similar to Adil's story, um, prior to Commerce Tools, I was the head of the architecture team at a large retailer down in South America. And in South America, they called it Cyber Day, which happened a couple of times a year. But it was a region that was served by only a few companies, and so they had a lot of people holding out, waiting for these events to be able to make their their purchases. And so everybody would be coming to the site at the same time. You get this massive surge of traffic at the beginning of the event. And one of my main jobs at Falabella was just to make sure that that site stayed up and it didn't crash at the beginning of the event. And it really wasn't an easy job to do because they were at the time running on ATG, also called Oracle Commerce, which is as we know is a very scalable platform. But once you get a lot of customizations and technical debt and all the complexities of it, it's just really hard to keep performant and scale like you want it to. So each year we'd have to go through and run 50 or 60 performance tests just to get ready. We'd start this effort in August to have enough time to get ready, and you've got to do them in production, so you got to do them in the middle of the night, and then you see the performance of it. If you find an issue, then the next day there's a separate team that has to go through and make a change, deploy to production, and it's exhausting because some of those deployments to do a regression test on a monolithic can take 20 or 30 man hours. And so all in all, the effort would be thousands of hours a year to prep for the event. And then it comes to the day of, and on that day, there's going to most likely be tens of thousands of price changes, a bunch of promotions going live, new products and categories, and everything has to go live at the exact minute because that's when people are going to come to the site. And so you do all your push of all your changes, and then you've got to drop your caches, and that cache is your protection. And when you drop it, that's when the customers come to the site right at that same minute. And so it's kind of a perfect storm. And really the stakes are high, like making sure that you aren't going to be that site that goes down and go into the headlines. And people are talking about how XYZ site went down right during Black Friday. And so one of the techniques that we had used was to introduce a queuing system back then with a legacy platform. So you've got all these people sitting in a queue waiting to get the site, and it's just really not a great customer experience. Um,
Mhm.
but it really doesn't have to be that way anymore. With modern platforms like Commerce Tools and a Deals story here at Flaconi, it's a testament to that we're in a different era now.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes, we definitely are. And admittedly, I have been that shopper before that was in a queue at one point, and I at first thought it was one of those tactics to kind of get excitement and see, oh, can I actually shop or not? I didn't realize that, oh, actually the site was not working properly. So it was frustrating for me at that point, I will say.
Sure.
Logan, anything else you want to add about challenges you've seen with other retailers you've worked with as well?
Yeah, one of the retailers that it's a large U.S. retailer, can't name. They had like 3 years in a row site outage. Imagine the nightmare for a retailer to lose their site, one of the peak holiday seasons. And then in 2021 they started on a journey with Google Cloud, and since then it became, what they call a boring event for their IT team, from having to be on a page duty to to a smooth experience. I think that's where the stack similar to composable commerce as well as on a hyperscaler cloud platform really helps you to achieve that nirvana for a peak holiday season.
Mhm, mhm. Wow. Well, since we've talked a lot about all the woes, I do want to transition into getting to that success point. And so, Adil, can you tell us a little bit about that turning point that Flaconi experienced when you all decided, all right, it's time for a change now? And how did you go about determining that right solution for you?
Sure, sure. But before I go there, I can totally relate to all the points that Michael and Logan have mentioned. I feel so much similar. And yeah, well, given the challenges we faced, it was becoming undeniable that our setup wasn't sustainable enough to support our business growth or the needs. Right? Given the rigid monolith structure of our legacy platform was holding us back, we kept running into the scalability issues, bounding resources into the system that could not just keep up with the pace. We tried a couple of times to expand the platform to make it work, but in the end, it was like we were building on a very fragile foundation which was outdated. And no matter how much we adjust, we still have to manage this technical depth. We have to live with it and bound resources to it. The turning point come on the Black Friday on 28. Despite all the extensive prep, testing, code freeze, we still faced a 3 hours downtime right on Black Friday on the peak time. Although we achieved our business objectives, we hit our target, but still that was a really major wake up call for us. And we realized that no amount of patching would provide us the resilience or scalability we needed. Instead, we would keep ourselves stuck in this maintenance mode. And from that point onward, it was very clear that we need a fresh start. We begin to rethink our entire tech stack, aiming for the platform that could not only handle the peak, but also align with the long-term business objectives and goals, and offer us the flexibility for the future as well. Right? And we aim for the platform that was resilient, scalable, adaptable, allow us to quickly respond to the market demands without being vendor locked, because this was one of our problem with the legacy platform. And when we look at the solution, the composable solutions built on the Mach principle seems to be the right fit for us. Not only addressing our current challenges, but also helping us in the future for the future needs. Offering flexibility for easy to upgrade or replace any specific component without impacting the entire platform. I mean, other than deciding on what approach we take, because composable commerce is offered by a certain service provider, choosing a right solution was critical, but also choosing a right service provider. And we was used to call them the partners because we really see them as a partner in success, was very important for us. We invested a lot in choosing the right solution provider. We assessed the technical maturity, reliability, scalability of the platform and how easy it is to integrate. But beyond technology, we were looking at the service provider, their vision, how did they start it, how did they evolve over the period of time in the industry, and what actions they have taken to keep their customers successful in the industry. And how do they, in the end, address the complex challenges which are faced by the industry in that specific area.
Great to hear that. And so, Mike, I'd love for you to share a little bit about if customers are also experiencing the same issue. Are there other maybe common trends you're also seeing when Adil was speaking to the success points? What are you also seeing with some of our customers at Commerce Tools?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons that we see customers or potential customers look at commerce tools. I mean, one of them may be just strictly performance, and maybe that they're having issues keeping their platform up. Um, Others could be, velocity issues. Maybe it's hard with your current platform that you've got all these customizations and technical debt. It's just really hard to push out new changes and get things live like you want them to. And so we see a lot with different customers. And there was some tipping points, especially one of them was when COVID hit. Some of our customers, nuts.com, one of them that sell a lot of different baking goods and snacks and things like that, they saw traffic go up by like 10x.
Mhm.
And that's typically what people see on like their Black Friday events. And so now they're scrambling, but they were on commerce tools, so they were fine because the platform just scaled up. They didn't have to try to keep this thing manned 24/7 so that they didn't have any issues with their site. So there's a lot of things that there's there's the unknown, the unexpected that can hit, and it's nice being on that modern technology stack because it's it's less effort to keep it maintained and up and running, and it's easier to push things out to production to make sure that you're hitting your objectives. So there's a lot of reasons that we see people transition.
Mhm, mhm. And so, going back to Adil for a moment, you had mentioned a little bit about the mock architecture that's really enabled this the success. Like when your team was starting to see, all right, we need a change with our technology. Let's go with this mock approach. Can you tell me a little bit more about how that composable commerce approach has enabled Flaconi to stay agile and responsive to evolving customer expectations? What are some specific things that you're noticing with your team and how they're adapting and thriving now?
Sure. Well, the composable commerce for Flaconi has been a game changer, right? As I mentioned earlier, we were developing everything in-house, even for the components. That was very standard in the industry and was not helping us to differentiate in the market. We were developing, we were maintaining, we were bounding resources, and we were increasing technical depth over the period of time. So from that regard, composable solutions took away that cognitive workload that we had to had in our mind and have to maintain every time, right? And by leveraging Mach principles, we gain the modular tech stack that gave us the flexibility and the resilience, not only for the short term but also for the long term. And rather than relying on all-in-one solution and being stuck with one vendor, how we were last time, Composable Commerce offered us flexibility to handpick best of breed solutions for each functions that is available in the market, and that helped us to react to the new industry trends faster and stay ahead by addressing our customer demands and needs. For example, we can quickly and seamlessly, and we have integrated with the new personalization or campaign solutions without needing to revamp the whole system. This is a huge improvement for us. And with the previous monolith setup, where similar change would have been a complex and very time intensive task for multiple teams. And by having the decentralized tech stack, we also reduce the team dependencies, which means that each team in engineering can work now on different projects in parallel without impacting and depending on each other, which also enable us to bring new features live faster as compared to before, right? And additionally, many of these composable solutions are offering the self-service platform for non-technical stakeholders. Now, I mean, given that our non-technical stakeholders can adjust content, launch campaigns without any engineering support or dependency, which further help us to be faster time to market with these kinds of things. Right? I mean, to sum it up, I can say we are more agile and we can respond much faster to our customer needs with more accuracy. I mean, some of the measurable benefit we experienced was developer productivity. Teams are more empowered, they can work more independently, of course. Our time to market improved a lot, and the agility and extensibility of the system also increased a lot, given the loosely coupled nature of the setup. And I mean, when I say time to market improved, one example is we are 70% faster to launch new countries with the new setup than before. to create a new campaign or a custom page, a campaign page for our customers. It's 80% faster than before. I mean, which is for us was a really significant improvement. And to sum it up, overall, the health of the platform, the uptime of the platform have also improved significantly.
Those are all really awesome, awesome success factors there. So that's really great to hear. And so there's a lot to unpack there. So we've talked a lot so far about the composable technology, and Adil, you alluded to a bit about how your team is able to thrive in, I'm going to say, more of a composable mindset, a composable nature. And so Logan, I'm going to switch gears and ask you this one. It sounds like overall, it's not just the tech stack that needs to be composable, but also the organization needs to function in a similar manner as well. And can you tell us a bit about what you have seen, how organizations have benefited from operating in this composable like manner? Oh, I believe you're on mute.
Sorry. So organizational preparedness is key to a successful Black Friday, Cyber Monday on a holiday sales season. It's really a team sport, and it requires a clearly documented plan and execution strategy on an agreed success criteria. um, from what we have seen, organizations start planning as early as August, as Michael mentioned, and they work with a cloud provider on planning their infrastructure capacity based on previous year's traffic. So they are prepared to handle the peak traffic, ensure the site is up and running, and they also use data points like the current year trend. Amazon and other large retailers start their holiday sales events as early as September, October. So all those trends data help you in planning your infrastructure capacity. Additionally, if you are planning any sales campaigns, promotions, new consumer trends, all these kind of factor in to help you ensure that you are optimally planned for your infrastructure capacity. It's truly a business and IT collaborative effort, one of those times when the two have to come together. And I want to share a fun fact. So if you ever wondered what is this 99%, 99.9% that people talk about, their site uptime, the difference between 99% and 99.9% uptime is 10x site availability. So, if you keep that in mind, you will know how important to plan for infrastructure capacity as early as August, and carry out all the kind of tabletop exercises to ensure that everything is ready for that great moment of the year to capture the biggest wallet share of the year.
Okay. Well, we've talked quite a bit about that transition into success. And so, moving into another couple questions I have, we've talked about the woes, we've talked about the transition, and now I'd love to learn a little more about those Black Friday wins. And so, Adil, to kick it off, now that Flaconi has transitioned to commercetools, can you tell us about how Black Friday has changed for you? What are those successes your team is now seeing since replatforming?
Well, it's a significant change. But to connect to what I said earlier, we still do a preparation for the peak season. Like we still, to ensure the system stability, we still run load tests, but it is not that intense how it used to be before. Like you can say ratio from 1 to 10 have changed, right? And since we moved to the new platform, Black Friday has gone from high intense day of all hands on deck to a smooth, predictable event for us. That's a huge win for the whole organization, right? Both business and tech can work hand in hand to focus on the opportunities which help us to generate more revenue and make the business more successful, right? Instead of managing these technical issues, we focus on what matters the most, optimizing the sales, celebrating the team achievements, and improving the customer experience. The flexibility of our new setup means also help us to much quicker implement the changes and launch new features or promotions, which previously took a lot more time and effort, right? This agility helped us to improve our core business, make it easier to hit the business goals. And with a couple of successful Black Fridays already on the new platform, we are confident that we are well prepared and refined with the promotions and ready to go campaigns, and focus is more on providing best personalized shopping experience to our customers by offering them what they are looking for as fast as possible. I mean, to wrap it up, in short, Composable Solution has not only given us the reliable Black Friday, but has also transformed it into an exciting growth focused opportunity instead of a survival exercise for us.
Hmm. Hmm. And I'm sure coming this Black Friday in just a month, that will be no different. It'll be relax, chill, everything will be great, and no crazy surprises, right?
Yes, we are very confident with the setup we have.
Mm. Great, great. Well, so that was specifically about flaconi. And so Logan, tell us a little bit about with Black Friday. It's a very competitive event in general for retailers because there's a lot of retailers that look at Black Friday as their big shopping event. And so, what strategies have you seen organizations implement to stay differentiated during this selling season when everyone is trying to go after similar customer groups in a sense?
Absolutely. Retail is always a hyper competitive business, and the annual sales, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, is the defining event for capturing the wallet share, as I mentioned earlier. Um, the digital native retailers and the social media influencers are changing the game in terms of experience. And today's consumers are, uh, you know, they don't have the patience, so they demand hyper personalized experiences, and they won't hesitate to switch brands or retailer sites if they don't see them offering that experience. So um, given that, customer experience is going to be the differentiation, and it's going to be the differentiation throughout the year, but the scale of it is going to be highly important during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So we talked about this, high available site earlier, and the customer experiences touches the entire shopping journey, from keeping your site highly available, highly performant, to faster checkout. I think you mentioned, Mary, earlier you were frustrated when you were about to kind of complete the shopping and then you were kept on waiting. So making sure the checkout is faster, at the same time also provide multiple payment options to consumers. So the experience is touches the every aspect of the journey, and this is where retailers are focused. And the composable commerce technology and some of the points that Adil highlighted earlier, like the agility and flexibility to launch new experiences and tweak existing experiences, become very, very crucial. So composable commerce becomes a true enabler for that. And then when you have it on a cloud platform, it allows you to offer that hyper personalized customer experiences by scaling quickly when the traffic peaks, spikes. Also, the cloud platform allows you to be closer to the consumers, because cloud is everywhere. So you are able to uh, keep your site up and running, and also low latency by making it available everywhere. So the combination of composable commerce and cloud platform helps retailers to provide that hyper personalized customer experiences to not only acquire new customers but also convert them during that peak holidays shopping season.
Mhm, mhm. Absolutely, absolutely.
And
So,
just to add on what Logan said, right? What we experience, or I can tell from my experience, from technical side, we are Black Friday ready anytime with a very little prep. Now it's more work for the business to prepare or think of the campaigns what they want to run. But whenever there is something has to happen, we are very well prepared for that with the setup. And
Mhm.
we are talking in context of Black Friday here, right? But generally looking at how composable commerce help you in day-to-day life, that also something which we should not ignore. As I mentioned, like we are able to launch countries 70% faster than their legacy platform. And due to the new platform, we were able to launch 5 new countries in last 2 years, which was nearly impossible if you were on the legacy platform.
That is so awesome to hear. And it's funny you mentioned that. I know that, Mike, you would definitely agree that it's important to be Black Friday ready year round. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about some recommendations you have as teams prepare for Black Friday and ensure that they're always ready for that year round?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's exactly that, exactly what Adil said. It's less about the big preparation for the event. You want to make sure that you're ready all year because it may not be Black Friday. It may something else, some kind of event, whether you get um, mentioned on social media and all of a sudden you have a big spike in traffic. You just want to be ready for it. So it's more about building in that you still need to make sure that you're performing. So building that process in a routine manner. You're automating that so that whenever you release stuff to production, it's it's going to get tested and you're going to ensure that you're in good shape. So come Black Friday, maybe you've got to run one performance test to make sure everything looks good, but it's a fraction of the effort that it it used to be. And so, really the focus shifts to the operations teams. Make sure that the promotions, the pricing, and you still have your technical team making sure all that stuff gets pushed out and the data is flowing properly to your systems. But that's where the effort is. And so it's just a different type of event now with a composable commerce solution.
Mhm. Mhm. So, final question, and I'd love to direct this to all three of you. So maybe Logan, we'll start with you. So Mike, you talked a bit about being Black Friday ready in general. Black Friday will be here in 3, 4 weeks. It'll be here before we know it. And so, what recommendations do you all have, or quick wins that retailers can do over the next month to ensure success? What are those final, like checking off the list kind of things that retailers should keep in mind? So Logan, I'll start with you.
Sure. The holiday sales season as we knew it changed significantly post-pandemic. Amazon and other retailers start pushing their holiday sales season as early as September, October. I would say, focus on two areas that doesn't require long development effort, but also ensures you get quick win. One is make your site compelling with relevant product content, product listing, product imagery. The digital natives are making that important. Like they offer very compelling visually appealing product images. So invest in that area, and this is where generative AI can really help cut down the cycle it requires you for creating new content, new promotional messages, product listing, etc. Second area is every e-commerce site has recommendations models, like AI and data based recommendation models. So fine tune those recommendation models relevant for the holiday season. Like, and one example is during the holiday season, um, you're not going to recommend products that maybe purchased in the past. Holiday is unique, so instead you may be interested in items that others purchase because everyone there is a trend during that time. So I would say fine tune that model and also factor in not just your previous year sales but also recent trends. An example that everyone is aware is the Taylor Swift and the NFL games. How it influenced the sales, how it drove sales on specific ads. So factor in those trends as well. To make sure that you are able to increase the basket size, increase the average order value during the holiday season.
Mhm. All great recommendations. Adil or Mike, are there any other maybe quick wins that you'd like to share from your perspective?
I will underline what Logan said, and I would say insist to focus more on offering more personalized shopping experience to your customers. Help them find what they look for as fast as possible, because during the time everybody is offering something, right? More time people spend on the site to find what they're looking for is more chances they will go elsewhere. So that will be the only thing I would suggest you should focus on. And don't experiment during the peak season. Learn what the challenges are and then take the time to address them after the peak season and focus on your strengths during this time.
Yeah, and I'll add one more thing. It's more from the operational standpoint, but make sure that you've got really good visibility into what users are doing on your site. Making sure that you have inventory allocated for products. If there's a high selling product that is going to run out of inventory quick and you can reallocate some inventory for it, you can be able to catch that early. Other things of just making sure you don't have broken links or pages or banners, just the behavior of what people are doing on your site. Make sure that you can see that during the event, because you've got a lot of people shopping. It's like you have a lot of people in the store. You want to make sure that you know that they're being served properly. So analytics, dashboards, reports, all of that real-time view of what's going on your site.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for all those recommendations. This has been a great conversation today. And now I do want to open it up for Q&A for just a couple of minutes. So I did see we had a couple questions come in. And so first to start, Adil, this one is for you. What tools or solutions are you using for monitoring your composable commerce stack during Black Friday?
I mean, our observability tool is New Relic. We rely totally on that. Our logs, metrics, everything is logged there. And it is set up in a way that every team have their own workloads, which is connecting to the complete tech stack they are responsible for. And there are certain triaging of the issues. And if issues are critical, the workload turns red. That means somebody must be looking into that and be working on that. I mean, there is a lot underneath, but that's basically the tool that we use for observability in general.
Okay.
I hope I
And then
answered the question. If there is any follow-up specific, please ask.
Okay, alrighty. I'll let you know if there's another follow-up that comes up there. And then I have one for you, Mike. You mentioned a queuing solution that you had previously used for Black Friday. Do customers need a solution like that with Commerce Tools?
They do not, and that's one of the things that we really talk about and promote with Commerce Tools. Is it scales very well.
Mhm.
It's built using a mock stack, so you know that the technology has been independently verified and properly scaled so that it'll be performant. We have a lot of our large customers will come to Commerce Tools and say, can you make sure that you handle our scale? And we have to go through and do a lot of performance testing with them. One recent test, we had to scale up for a customer up to over 100,000 orders per minute. That's over 1,500 per second. And that's just in one instance of Commerce Tools. And the platform handled it. So we know that Commerce Tools is probably the leading scalable enterprise platform out there. And it can really just scale as you need. So we don't require any of those queuing systems and even caching layers. A lot of legacy platforms, you have to put all of these caching layers in, which hurt the personalized experience because you're serving the same content to all of the customers. But with Commerce Tools, you can really serve a different kind of experience, a personalized experience, because you don't have to have the caching in place with Commerce Tools.
Okay.
And
Well,
I
thank
can
you for that
totally
clarification. Yeah.
and I can totally confirm that being a customer of Commerce Tools, we can totally rely on them during the peaks.
Well, we always appreciate hearing that. So thank you. I do have one question. Mike, this one is a new one that came in. It's directed to you. Can you tell us a little bit about how Commerce Tools is a better solution compared to Shopify?
Yeah, I mean it's a good question. Shopify is one of the competing platforms that we see in the market, and Shopify. If you look at the origins of Shopify, it's built for a certain type of market. to be able to get a site live quickly, to be able to start selling products online in more simplified use cases. Commerce Tools was built more as an enterprise platform that's able to serve a lot more complexity when it comes to understanding a lot more of customized pricing, bundling, subscription use cases. A lot of that complexity that comes when you have, I mean, almost every company has their own complexities today that they need to be able to offer to their customers because it becomes a differentiator. You need to make sure that you have a platform like Commerce Tools that's not going to restrict or limit you. So they're just built differently. Shopify was built for, quick turn on the site, sell products online, and Commerce Tools is built more for these complexities and unique business cases that a lot of our customers have.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Thank you to all three of our panelists for such a great discussion today. I know we've talked about a lot. A couple takeaways I have is all about how composable commerce really unlocks that unmatched flexibility and agility to help retailers like Flaconi minimize risk and ensure that Black Friday success. Also, I think this should be a tagline that Black Friday success is a team sport. And it's important to not only have that composable tech stack, but also the organization function in that composable manner as well. And lastly, I think we spoke about this quite a bit, is that one of the best approaches for ensuring Black Friday success is to be Black Friday ready all year round. And I'm going to go back to the recording to make sure I had that whole list of things because there was so much to really unpack there. And I know that our attendees would really appreciate listening to that portion, particularly again. If you'd like to learn more about this topic, we do have a couple resources here on the screen. We have a couple resources that we have available, such as our omni-channel playbook, reimagining retail commerce in 2024. So feel free to scan the QR codes here for more context there. And again, thank you all for joining us. You'll receive the recording in a bit through the email, and we wish you all a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.